we must talk about the northern border, the southern part of Lebanon and the northern part of Israel. That is completely in focus right now. Tensions are escalating as more than 300 missiles, a barrage of which was launched by Hezbollah towards northern Israel. And Daniel Hagari, before scrambling those jets over Lebanon, said we're going to leave no stone unturned to hit every target possible. Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, has declared an emergency situation in the country for the next 48 hours. And this comes after the Hezbollah launched a barrage of missiles at Israel. Now, Yoav Gallant said that there is a special situation in the home front, quote unquote. And the phrase special situation is a legal term used in terms of emergency and grants the IDF and other authorities greater jurisdiction over the civilian population for 48 hours unless extended further. Now, Hezbollah has said that it has completed the first phase of retaliatory attack on Israel with a large number of missiles in response to the killing of Commander Fouad Shukr, who was killed in the end of last month, right when Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated. Now, Hezbollah said that it fired more than 320 Katyusha rockets at 11 Israeli military bases and barracks, including the Miran base and 4 sites in the occupied Golan Heights. This attack was already a highly anticipated one after Israel's continued targeted killings of several commanders of Hezbollah and also the Hamas. The missile attack by Hezbollah comes as Israel launched a series of intense preemptive airstrikes on southern Lebanon early on Sunday. The IDF has said that it will do whatever is needed to defend the civilians and the state of Israel. And in a post on X, the Israeli Defense Forces also informed that approximately 100 Israeli Air Force fighter jets struck and eliminated thousands of Hezbollah rocket launcher barrels aimed for immediate fire towards northern and central Israel. Now, again, important to note here, ladies and gentlemen, more than 40 Hezbollah launch areas were also struck as the jets scrambled over Lebanon by the Israeli Air Force of the IDF. Well, my colleague Sumit Chaudhary joins us on the phone line here. Sumit, very warm welcome on to the broadcast. I know that you yourself have visited southern Lebanon, the ghost towns. You know very well that the northern border of Israel has been in focus. When you visited Lebanon last time around, could you preempt this? That there was going to be an escalation so soon, and a 48-hour long emergency. What do you think is going to happen next?
Well, Khabib, the situation right now in the South Lebanon and in north part of Israel is very tense. Especially, we come to know that Israel has done a preemptive strike into the South Lebanon area with the help of more than 100 aircraft. And after that, the Hezbollah have targeted the northern part of Israel with more than 320 missiles and 20 suicide drones. And their main focus is basically not only the military installations, the army bases, but also the power and the other installations, the electricity power station. So they wanted to harm the Israeli parts with economically also. They wanted to disturb the electricity also. So they have targeted more than 11 locations in Golan Heights and the Upper Gili. But the Israeli part is also preparing for the second phase of airstrikes in the South Lebanon area, and especially when you talk about the South Lebanon area, the North Israeli part, the situation is very tense. I have traveled to all these locations, especially not only the South Lebanon part, but also in the Gaza and in the north part of Israel. All these areas for next 48 hours are put on the emergency, and all the Tel Aviv municipal the authorities have opened all these shelters so that if any in the case of any eventuality, in case of any emergency, all the people will go to these shelters which are especially made for all these kind of situations. So right now the situation is very tense, but yes, the Israeli
Sumit, for the first time, I think Sumit, for the first time, I think the Israeli Defense Forces and especially the Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, he's used the word special situation for the first time ever since the Gaza war broke out. Do you think this was the escalation in the regional area that everybody was talking about, that there's going to be a full-blown war? Is this the closest that we've come to it so far?
Well, Kabir, the Israeli part has received information that with more than 6,000 long-range missiles, Hezbollah is going to target the Tel Aviv. They are going to target the center in the center of the Israel, and their main target will be the military installation and the administrative buildings. So after that, the Israeli part have started the preemptive strike. But what is more important right now that the Hezbollah is also retaliating after the airstrikes conducted by the IDF. They also retaliated, and that too in a very big way. From last so many months, we have not seen such kind of a big attack, especially by the Hezbollah. They have been targeted with the 40 missiles, 50 missiles, but now they have targeted they have used more than 320 missiles and 20 suicide drones. That means they have a good capacity. They have a very well, you can call a military missiles power. So that's why they have been retaliatory targeting the Israelis. So now the situation is very tense because now the Israeli Air Force have been planning for the second phase of airstrikes in the South Lebanon. If they feel that is going to be threatened, their security situation, they are going to target again. So this is going to repeat again and again because now the Israelis have clearly mentioned that they are going to take a preemptive airstrike whenever they feel like.
And lastly, Sumit, before we let you go, this is an initial response by Hezbollah. That's what Hezbollah says. This is the initial response for the killing of Fouad Shukr. Now remember, when Fouad Shukr was killed, so was Ismail Haniyeh in Iran, just in the same time frame. Now, how do you think Hamas is going to react? Because Khan Yunis, the operations are continuing. You visited Gaza as well. How do you think Iran is now going to react? Because all its proxies are working. You've got Hezbollah that's working in Lebanon. You've got Houthis that are again carrying out those merchant vessel attacks in the Red Sea. Where is this headed? And whilst you're at it, Sumit, also talk to us about the people. Those towns in southern Lebanon, they were completely ghosted. People had left them. But what about Israelis? These are 6,000 rockets that you're talking about hitting central Tel Aviv. What can one expect?
Well, Kabir, if you talk about the current scenario, the main threat for Israel is only Hezbollah. When you talk about Hamas, they have neutralized their big commander. They have neutralized their you can the OGWs, the overground workers. They have neutralized their big missile power. So the Hamas is not a big threat to them. But the biggest threat right now in all these scenario is Hezbollah because they have a big missile power, and that's why now the major airstrike conducted by the IDF is only in the South Lebanon area, and especially to nearby areas of Beirut, where the Hezbollah have made their command and control centers. So now the big threat for Israel is only Hezbollah. And when you talk about the South Israeli part, I have traveled myself to all these areas, Echelon, Edrot, and all these areas. And these have became abandoned. They have became because everybody has been evacuated towards the Tel Aviv, to the Echelon. So now these areas have been vacant, and especially the same scenario is we have been seeing in the northern part also. From last 1 month, when the Hezbollah started targeting in a big way, then the civilians have been asked to leave a few of the areas, and they have been told to move towards the Tel Aviv. So the condition on the south and the north Israel is basically same. But the biggest danger, the biggest threat for Israel is now only the Hezbollah, because that is the main proxy you can player which have been targeting Israel in a massive way.
Those towns certainly seem to be ghosted, Sumit, but the Israeli jets are now scrambled at about 5 a.m. early this morning. The IDF released a statement. It said that we're going to carry out strikes in over homes. Now, Lebanese people are going to be in the crosshairs. Do you think there's going to be collateral damage? Do you think Lebanon will be able to save all the common folk because the IDF jets are going to be dropping bombs left, right, center?
Well, one thing is very clear, Kabir. the damages, or you can call the harm, the life of the civilians have been disturbed on both the ends, both the sides. Especially last month only when I traveled to the South Lebanon area, I have traveled all across the Israel and the Lebanon border, which we know as a hot belt right now. It's emerging hot belt, especially when we see all these kind of airstrikes. So that is what I have noticed, that now all the areas, especially in the South Lebanon, have been evacuated. All the civilians have been moved to the north part of Lebanon. And these areas, around 5 to 8 kilometers radius area has been a ghost town. Nobody is there. Everything has been cleared. Only the UNIFIL, the United Nations forces, the peacekeeping forces have been deployed there. Otherwise, nothing is there. And that is the reason why the Hezbollah have made all these ghost towns as their command and control centers. Right. And Israel have been claiming that they are only targeting these command and control centers. So the situation is very, you can call it a very tense, very complicated, but yes, not only is Israel, but also Hezbollah is not going to stop. They only claiming is until and unless the Israel stop, they stop the firing and the operations in Hamas, in Gaza, they are not going to stop it. Only they are going to stop when the Israel stop doing any operations in the Gaza
and from
area.
what we've seen, Sumit, over the last 10, 11 months or so, is the fact that there seems to be no end to this conflict at this point in time. Sumit, he's been spearheading TV9 Network's own reportage from Lebanon and, of course, Gaza Strip, right next to Israel. Well, we're going to keep coming back to you. Many thanks, Sumit, for joining with us and helping us out with the latest details. What you're looking at on your screens right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the initial response that Hezbollah set across for Israel after what they say, the killing top Hezbollah commander Fouad Shukr about a month or so back. Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's own commander, was also assassinated in Iran, which is why Iran-backed proxies then rallied their attacks towards Israel. But this again seems to be one of those biggest barrages. We've seen how Houthis launched their barrage just a couple of months back. Jordan had eliminated some over their airspace. There was a lot of time before Israel could take all of them down. It's David Sling and the Iron Dome in action. But now this 300 large barrage of missiles that was targeted towards Tel Aviv, that was brought down. But what we're also picking up, and Sumit tells us the same, is that several more rounds of missiles are now going to continue to go on. Now, on the other hand, several meetings are taking place. We were just showing you those visuals as well. Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant, in their own huddles, trying to decide what next must happen. Already, the Israeli Air Force, the IAF of the IDF, has scrambled their jets over Lebanon. They're saying we're going to eliminate every Lebanese target that's attacking Israel at this point in time possible. How many Lebanese civilians will be in the crosshair and become collateral? Well, that's one aspect to look at. On the other hand, the IDF continues with its operations in the Gaza Strip. Khan Yunis evacuations have been ordered. But on the other hand, north border, north of Israel and south of Lebanon seems to be a major focus where escalated tensions have now given way to explosions in the nighttime. A barrage that had 300 missiles called an initial response, several more to come if reports are to be understood. But in the meantime, Daniel Hagari, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, spokesperson for the Israeli Defense Forces, he said that the IDF is not going to leave any stone unturned. Let's quickly listen in to what the man had to say.
בשעה האחרונה זיהינו היערכות נרחבת של חיזבאללה לירות לעבר עורף מדינת ישראל. לאחר הזיהוי הנרחב, חיל האוויר ופיקוד הצפון החלו לתקוף באופן יזום ורחב מטרות חיזבאללה להסרת איומים שכוונו לעבר אזרחי מדינת ישראל. אנחנו מסירים איומים על העורף הישראלי. עשרות מטוסים של חיל האוויר תוקפים כעת מטרות באזורים שונים בדרום לבנון. חיזבאללה משגר רקטות וכלי טייס בלתי מאוישים לשטח מדינת ישראל. מערכות ההגנה האוויריות שלנו, ספינות חיל הים ומטוסי חיל האוויר נמצאים במשימת הגנת שמי המדינה. מזהים, מיירטים איומים ותוקפים בכל מקום בלבנון בו נדרש על מנת להסיר איומים ולפגוע בחיזבאללה. כשאמרנו, נעשה כל מה שצריך להגן על אזרחי מדינת ישראל, לזה התכוונו. אירתנו כבר מספר רקטות וכלי טייס בלתי מאוישים שהתקרבו לעבר שטח מדינת ישראל. אנחנו מזהירים את האזרחים הלבנונים הנמצאים בדרום לבנון. אנחנו מזהים שחיזבאללה יורה באופן נרחב לשטח ישראל בסמוך לבתיכם. אתם נמצאים בסכנה. אנחנו תוקפים ומסירים איומים של חיזבאללה. אנחנו מסתכלים מסביב למדינת ישראל כל הזמן, גם לתימן, גם לאיראן. אני מזכיר שחיזבאללה זה שלוחה של האיראנים. הם ממומנים, מחומשים, מוכוונים, ואני משוכנע שגם הירי הנרחב הזה הוא בהכוונה איראנית וגם באחריות איראנית, ואנחנו נתקוף ונסיר איומים בכל מקום שנידרש אליו. רוב הפעילות כרגע היא בדרום לבנון, אבל אנחנו נתקוף בכל מקום בלבנון שבו יהיה איום לעבר מדינת ישראל.
Well, so this is the situation at this point in time. 320 missiles launched from Hezbollah at 11 military bases of the Israeli Defense Forces. In retaliation to all of this, about 100 Israeli Air Force jets that have been scrambled and are targeting various launching sites of Hezbollah. Tensions have certainly escalated. Where is it going to lead out to? Is this the large-scale West Asian regional conflict that everybody was talking about? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. News 9.